Over a year ago, I attended my very first session to teach the underprivileged and encountered a kind hearted girl named Komal. The learning of the day had been for the children to write their names. As I was leaving that day, she held on to my arm and refused to part ways, finally letting me go with a gift. I often fondly look at the note she gave me, with her name, along with mine, written with utmost care. That interaction perpetuated my weekly participation in these sessions. I wonder who, between Komal and I, would truly be the deprived one without these wonderful weekends. Travel has been an inherent part of the last 15 privileged years of my life. These experiences have been significant in influencing my worldview. It makes me engage with cultures and communities across the world and gives me an insight into my very own. Conversing with places and people outside my comfort zone is where I learn most. Perhaps this is what incited me to reflect and to respect the value of camaraderie and compassion. Short camping expeditions with my sister and long summer breaks spent with grandparents have been priceless moments of perspective for me. So much so that when I inform my teachers of my absence now, they're completely unfazed. In fact, as I miss my cycle tests cycling through cities, my headmistress encourages me to miss school for the sake of my education. Here, it is befitting to quote this wild one by Oscar Wilde. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing worth knowing can be taught. As an avid reader, I have been interested in exploring the works and minds of literary greats such as Kafka, Dostoevsky, and Woolf for much of my life. Annie Dillard, a Pulitzer Prize winner, once said, "How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives." Reading cities and traversing books meant I needed time. One had to let go of certain things. So, I made the decision to keep a measured distance from social media. Under the garb of encouraging users to become increasingly connected, these platforms reduce the scope of sincere and meaningful connections, providing superficial peeks into the lives of fellow users. Moreover, the algorithm perfectly exemplifies bad design, seeking not to serve society, but to seduce it and to feed its trivial temptations. So, it is obvious that none of the generations are managing social media addiction well. However, research shows a paradigm shift in the way our generation consumes data. TrueGen, a Gen Z report on consumerism by McKinsey and Company states 66% of Gen Z believe that communities are created by causes and interests, not by economic background or educational levels. That percentage is well above the corresponding one for millennials. I believe that Gen Z is fairly aware and sensitized. Due to the access to a diverse range of sources and perspectives at the very tips of our fingers, we have developed an awareness of the world, and thus to an extent of ourselves. This awareness has helped nurture a generation that is receptive and responsive in its beliefs, a generation that is unquestionably passionate about inclusive notions and nations, a breathing planet. A survey conducted by United Way Worldwide shows 70% of Gen Z advocates for racial equity. 72% prioritize healthcare affordability and access, and 64% are passionate about climate change causes. And it's clear that we are a generation that recognizes and fosters the courage to take a stand for what we believe in. We have the will to evolve from reliving the past to learning from it, as well as the power to shape the future. We can bring social change. I believe that the best versions of each of us are the most purposeful, the most inspired, the versions that are truly aware of ourselves, a larger society, and our world. We face the challenges of a decaying and a consumed community, and we want to be the bend in this trajectory society has taken today. We are here to claim the future. We are a generation of clarity, conscientiousness, and courage. We need a shift in our perception of ourselves. We are not entitled, we are empowered. I end with a call to action. Recently, on my 15th birthday, I brought down a bag with 90% of my clothes to my parents' room and stated non negotiably, I don't need them. I've tried to actively be aware of the difference between my wants and my needs. I have attempted to not need the wants, but to only want the needs. This practice, pun intended, has made me feel clear and clean, and this sustained effort has shaped much of how I strive to live my life. One must give back and live consciously. One must value experiences over material. One must make real connections over digital ones. And so, I think it's safe to say that it's no more an opportunity we may seek, but an obligation that we have for our future. What we learn now is perhaps what most learned at 50.